Manchester City is charged with 115 different accounts of financial irregularities. Oh wait, that's not quite true. Well, we will get back to that. City was found guilty by UEFA, but bailed out due to charges being time-barred. Oh wait, no, that's not quite true either. Um, we'll get back to that. Manchester City has invested a huge amount of money, and other Premier League teams simply can't compete. Well, never mind. Where does all this misinformation come from? Let's figure that out. Welcome to my channel. Let's talk about FFP. So firstly, I will talk about the 115 charges which have been pressed against Manchester City. And you can see here on my screen what those charges are and how to break them down. And firstly, I want to talk about this bottom charge here, or this bottom type, and that is failure to cooperate. A lot of people will look at that and say, oh, you failed to cooperate, you are guilty. No, there are many reasons why you will not choose to cooperate as a business with investigation that you might believe is unjust, is being led by a biased party, or maybe even is completely false and corrupt. I study accounting. We are taught, if it is possible, to refuse handing over evidence to investigative bodies, never hand them over evidence. If you don't have to, don't. Why would you be taught this stuff as an accountant? Because one of the important things as an accountant is honesty. Well, it is because you might fear dishonesty on the opposing party. When all the numbers are known by investigative bodies, it is possible to fabricate evidence. Now, do I think that the Premier League is trying to fabricate evidence? I don't know. Manchester City clearly does, because they don't want to simply cooperate. If all the numbers are known, you can fabricate evidence. Manchester City will instead choose to submit their evidence to a court rather than to the Premier League. So the Premier League presses charges for failure to cooperate. This does not mean Manchester City is guilty. It simply means that they doubt the validity of the investigative body, which honestly, I can't blame them, and neither can you, because a lot of people have done the same when they are found in situations where they lack trust in investigative bodies, such as in this case the Premier League. There's absolutely no reason why you should give shade to that. There's just so many reasons why you can just decide, I won't give you evidence, you will save doing that. That's a common occurrence as an accountant. You just don't want to hand evidence over that easily. Now, the two above them, these are actually the big ones. These are the ones claiming that Manchester City broke rules. The top two pretty much claim fraud and have a lot of numbers. The bottom one has a lot of numbers. But actual relevant charges, not saying that these other three are irrelevant, but actual relevant charges are 12. The top two charges, or types of charges, so I say, pretty much only have effect on the ruling party of Manchester City. So that is to say the ownership, the directors and stuff like that. All these 68 charges could be found to be upheld, as well as the bottom 35. If the other 12 are not upheld, Manchester City could walk away scot-free. It would mean, however, that Sheikh Mansour is in very big trouble. But the big charges that are relevant to sporting fans. What happens to Sheikh Mansour? I really don't care. I will be honest to you. I do not care, and neither should you. What does it matter? Either he's innocent or he's not. What are you gonna do about it? Not a lot. The relevant charges with Manchester City are these 12 charges. Now, am I saying that City won't face any repercussions if none of these charges are found to be true? No, they will face some repercussions, but it won't be relegation or stripping of trophies or anything of that extreme nature. The fraud, however, because the top two types of charges claim fraud. The fraud, however, does have severe implications, which I'll get to in a bit. But first, let's talk about the Gus case. It was time-barred, you would say. Now, this document is completely free online. I have read the entirety of it, like some years ago. I don't remember it completely, I'll be honest, but I skipped to the conclusion, and here you can pretty much see the final ruling, and it says the appeal is partially upheld, and that pretty much means some things you said we agree with, some other things are not. But what is more interesting in this specific scenario is if you go to the conclusion here at number 8, the panel is not comfortably my English today. The panel is not comfortably satisfied that Manchester City Football Club disguised equity funding from HHSM. I'm pretty sure that it is a lot, or whatever it was called, and or ADUG. What's that, like Abu Dhabi Group or something? Again, too long since I've read this. As sponsorship contributions. So pretty much what this means is there is not enough evidence to suggest that Manchester City broke these rules. Now, there are a few things up here where the panel says, okay, there are charges that were time-barred. Does that mean City was innocent or guilty? No, it means they didn't even check the charges. If they were time-barred, they are irrelevant. Virtually irrelevant. There are ways that you can pull them back, but in this situation that was not relevant. So Manchester City did not escape because of a time barring. They escaped because there was a lack of evidence on CAS, or not CAS, but on UEFA's side. So CAS ruled against UEFA, except for one part where City again failed to cooperate. But again, there was not enough evidence. So why did City not cooperate if there was no evidence? Maybe they were just maybe, imagine this. Manchester City feared that UEFA, coming out with utter bollocks charges against them, might be trying to fabricate evidence against them. Now, I know that this is a crazy idea, but just imagine that maybe not every billionaire plays the legal game very nicely, and maybe just paying a fine for failure to cooperate is better than potentially having evidence fabricated against you. Just maybe. Just consider it. Now, I will come back to, and you can read this entire thing online, free. This is the official CAS document. I will link it in the top comment or in the description or wherever. I will link it for you. I will go back to Manchester City's FFP charges first. If it is proven that it is fraud, and that's these two top ones, these two are pretty much accusations of fraud, then Manchester City will face a very big punishment, but it will mainly be targeted at the ownership and the directors. And I can prove this because it has already happened before in English football. And that was with a certain Henry Norris at Arsenal Football Club. Well, it has happened at other occasions, but Henry Norris is the most famous person. Where Henry Norris made multiple illegal payments, as well as William Hall and two other directors who were involved in this. They were found guilty. These are unproven charges. Henry Norris was actually proven guilty. Very big difference there. And Henry Norris, the two other directors, and William Hall were all banned from football for life. But Arsenal Football Club faced a very minor punishment. And why is that? Because it was not actually Arsenal Football Club's fault. It was the fault of these directors. What I suspect will happen if these fraudulent charges are proven, assuming that the 12 FFP and PSR related charges aren't proven, is Sheikh Mansour and Manchester City Football Group will probably be either kicked out, with Sheikh Mansour being forced to sell the club, similar to what happened with Roman Abramovich, or something else entirely which I just can't predict, and neither can you. But what is even more important than this to acknowledge is that there are a lot of sources of misinformation about these charges, which do not want to talk about it fairly. They do not want to talk about these charges in honesty. One of those sources is English media. English media is terrible. You should already know this. If you actually think that you're gonna hear unbiased opinions on Sky Sports, you know that literally everyone on that panel is a fan of a rival club of Manchester City, right? That's not a place for unbiased opinions. Other sources of misinformation are places on the internet, like Mark Goldbridge is a good example. He literally lies about these charges, blatant lies, and I hope I don't need to explain why lying is bad. Now, there are also other sources of misinformation, such as just uneducated people online talking about these charges, constantly making stuff up. Just ignore them. If they don't know what they're talking about, you can always tell by asking them what did the conclusions of the CAS document say about Manchester City's charges. If they can't answer, I promise you they should not be talking about this. They do not know what they are talking about. And now, here is my personal opinion. Here is my conclusion to this video. There is still no evidence to suggest, that has been publicly released, to suggest that Manchester City is guilty. All the evidence that is publicly available has already been dismissed as insufficient by CAS. And it will be dismissed as insufficient by the court that handles this Premier League case as well. It is simply insufficient. New evidence needs to be brought forward. This is a closed trial, which means all evidence will be brought forward in private, and will only be revealed, if at all, when the trial is finished. So, at the moment, there is a lack of evidence. But I will point to Manchester City has been spending a lot of money, has been promising Pep Guardiola, and has been pushing a lot of money into the club lately, making big investments, while they have this threat looming above them of FFP. That seems a little weird. Like, if you're not absolutely confident that you will be found not guilty, why would you do that? Why would you spend all that money? The answer is, you could be trying to look strong, that is true, but also you could just be not guilty. I mean, it's possible. So, in my personal opinion, City will not be found guilty. And you won't know that until today, but I just don't see City being found guilty. And if they are found not guilty, you will have to accept it. You can cry, you can wail, you can say, oh, it's unfair. They got away with it. At the end of the day, all successful clubs are built on money. Arsenal Football Club was built upon Henry Norris. They would have never won a trophy without Henry Norris. Because Henry Norris literally saved them from bankruptcy before you ever won a trophy. John Smith at Liverpool got Liverpool to winning trophies in the 1970s and 80s. Manchester United, when did Fergie start winning his trophies? After big investments from Michael Knighton. Chelsea, Roman Abramovich. The crucial difference is, this time it's Manchester City with not a white owner, but an Arabian owner. And that's where people draw the line. English media, you can just see it. Rich white man, rich white man, rich white man, no problem. Rich white man, no problem. Rich Arabian man, the fifth guy, rich Arabian man. Now there is a problem. Now, yes, now this can't be happening. And here you can see the inherent racism that you have in English media. So, if CTR found not guilty, accept it. You can cry and cry and cry, it won't change the result. And in 10 years from now, if CTR found not guilty, this entire thing will be forgotten, and all you will be doing now is crying a losing battle. If they are found not guilty, just accept it, mates. You're not doing yourself a favor by being stubborn. And if you're a City fan and you are found not guilty, you should be posting the following every day when you see somebody cry. Just retweet it or whatever platform it is on. 115 trophies. And I'll let that be the conclusion of my video. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.